Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dan, from the fan club. This is the Ranger Nation discussion panel where we're going to be talking about the 30th anniversary. Before we get into that, though, we did have a couple super chats. AH says, call me crazy, but I think moving forward, and this ties in the 30th anniversary, for the 30th anniversary / reboot, Zord shouldn't be used in every episode. Save them for the finale or big events. I'd even argue less suit fighting. Give me more story over
Joe,
formula.
he's with you. I know you hate Zord fights.
I do.
You hate it.
I'm not a big Zord guy. I'm not a big Zord fight fan.
I like seeing new Zords. I don't like.
Yeah, here's the reason why. Okay, here's the reason why. It's because, honestly, Transformers does it better. So if Power Rangers is going to do like big mecha fights, at least make it competitive enough where it's going to look like Transformers, or at least look comparative to Transformers. The other super chat we had is from Frank Pimentel. He says, I'm surprised the second half of Dino Fury is actually doing good, because usually the second half is often not as good as the first. What do you think?
Maybe sometimes, not often. I think they're thinking about Dino Charge.
All right, word. Yeah. And the Blur, also another super chat. He says, would you want an original Dino Fury season 3? You know what, Blur? More on that later. But in this Ranger Nation 30th anniversary discussion, by the way, you can hit that super chat feature and ask us any questions. We're specifically going to be talking about the 30th anniversary and some of Liz's news, which she talked about earlier, and Austin St. John, and how this is going to affect everything. But let me introduce you to everybody. Airlim is here. Mark, you saw him earlier talking about Super Sentai. Toku Chris, how you doing, my friend?
I love that
break
hat.
his leg earlier, and he has a dope-ass hat on, so that's super cool. And Liz. How you doing, Liz?
That intro. You killed it, Liz. That was amazing.
That was good.
So much fun.
You had me and Jezzer. It feels good to be talking Power Rangers again, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Frank has another super chat. Or is this the same one? He says,
No.
I'm surprised the second half of Dino Fury is actually doing good compared to the previous seasons, where they just especially the Neo Saban. I think that's a sentiment that certain people have had. I think Dino Charge was one of those type of seasons. So let's talk about the 30th anniversary, though. Yeah, right? So, go ahead. Oh, that's true. Ninja Steel as well. I will say, though, Dimensions in Danger I really liked a lot, though. In terms of, like...
It had a lot of potential, for
you
sure.
didn't like it? Compared to what we had gotten previously. You don't think it was bad? Or that was good?
I liked when he had the Falcon Zord, but, like, I don't know. It was kind of just felt weird. I keep going back to the meme where, like, Steve Cardenas is just waking up from that little thing. He's like, all
right, well, let's talk 30th anniversary a little bit, because I know that's something that everybody wants to know about, and they don't care about it. We'll talk about something else. Talk about Lightning Collection. Now, 30th anniversary, though, so we're right around the corner from it, and there's a lot of things that were floating. Let's start off with the big thing, because the biggest thing that we can talk about is this Austin St. John indictment, we'll call it. Chris, this one's going to be for you. Austin St. John, well, I mean, I don't want to go much into, like, the legal woes of this. I mean, Liz hit it great at the top of the show. But with all this going on, does this impact Austin St. John's chance to return for the 30th anniversary?
We're muted, apparently.
You're back now.
There you are. Does this impact Austin St. John's chance for any kind of return for the 30th anniversary, Chris?
Well, I mean, is he allowed to leave the country? Because they're supposed to leave in like a month or something, right? So, I'd say definitely it does. I mean, as far as like with Saban, obviously it was very family oriented, right? Like no issues with family stuff. Anything that was deemed unfamily friendly was kind of like, yeah, no thanks, we're good. Hasbro, I don't quite know where they go, because this is really the only live action show Hasbro has their hands in at all. So there's really not a precedent to follow. But I would have to imagine that anything that's going to cause a problem is just going to be a problem that's whisked away, so to speak, especially when you have a Steve Cardenas in the background who was also a Red Ranger in Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin. It's very easy to be like, oh, Austin or Jason couldn't make it because he's the Omega Red Ranger. He's in space. Thanks, Boom Studio. they have plenty of ways to write themselves out of that corner.
Liz.
I mean, how many peace conference jokes did you see? 30th anniversary. Yeah, it's still the peace conference.
Hey, actually, you had a tweet that went kind of viral in Power Rangers. Liz, you want to talk about that for a second?
Oh, I was just being dumb, and I just said, well, great, now that I said, now when someone mentions the Red Ranger that went to prison, we're gonna have to ask them to specify, because it is not. We have had some Red Ranger issues. I know we're talking about 30th or Austin Jar now, but between Bling Empire with Megaforce, Super Megaforce Red.
Did you watch that?
And
yeah.
Dina, and now Austin St. John, and it's like Pua, that whole thing. Like,
I did not have Austin St. John committing wire fraud for $200,000+ on my 2022 bingo card this year. I'm going to be honest with you.
It was definitely not something I saw coming as well. But let's talk about some of these deeper elements in the 30th anniversary. So one thing that we can reveal now is, I may as well just put this out there now.
Oh, here we go.
Austin St. John we already talked about this. He was asked to come back for the 30th anniversary. Okay. And every indication seemed like that was going to happen. Now it definitely seems like that's off the table. But let's talk about the 30th anniversary specifically. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that Hasbro has planned out. And we're going to start from what we want from a 30th anniversary. And Airlim, I'm going to start with you. What's something that you like? Let's look, and I hate kind of like what do you want ideally from the 30th anniversary?
Decent storyline. To be fair, I would like to see multiple changes. So very similar to how they did the Gokaiger one, where it was like on a special DVD. If the thing's true with Trini's daughter, like being able to transform, I would love to see like an epic fight scene. And kind of something to lead in to give it a bit of mystery, something to tease us and talk about for years to come, and they never ever conclude it. But I want that.
Chris, question for you. So Jonathan Entwistle, this is something that we've been hearing a lot, that he is out. Do you think that Jonathan Entwistle and the 30th anniversary, will those be two separate projects if they are still working on those concurrently?
I don't see how they would be together in the same project. I mean, Entwistle, as far as everyone understood, was brought on to re-envision the brand going forward. And we have known for a year and a half now that the 30th anniversary was going to be their swan song to the universe that we know, because they view staying in that same continuity, that same universe, as a hindrance. Look at every other brand they have under their belt. Nothing is the way it was from when it first came out. Transformers is not the same universe, so to speak, as it was in the 80s. G.I. Joe's kind of the same way. It's all new, reimagined, the 2020 version or whatever. So I don't think, if Entwistle is indeed out, and I mean, we don't 100% know for sure, right? But if he's out, I think I tweeted it too. It's like, if he's out, was he ever in?
100%.
I mean, is there going to be anything that he started that has anything? Because he was supposed to do the movie, but they don't even have a script. So, no, I don't think he has anything to do with the 30th anniversary. I think that's all on the hands of the New Zealand production team of Simon Bennett. I don't think he has got anything to do with it whatsoever.
We got a couple super chats in. Thomas DeCoste says, do you think they'll turn the reunion special into MMPR as a whole instead of just season one?
I don't think so.
No.
No, I mean, like, I feel like there's a lot of potential for, it's a crazy theory, and it like might make some people mad, but I think we already were introduced to Yen. I think we were.
I don't think so.
I think that Yen is a placeholder name, like we do for a lot of the casting things.
Wait, so you think that all right, let me ask you a question. This is something you brought up, and I didn't ask Simon Bennett, but this is something you brought up. You think we've already seen Yen so far?
Yeah. I think.
I know. You think it's Izzy's girlfriend.
I just thought that. Yeah.
I think that like it'd be a great way to tie the two seasons together and make it kind of cohesive.
It's not a terrible idea, mainly because
that would be cool.
All indications seem to point, and I'm not. This is pure speculation. This isn't breaking any news. Pure speculation. That the Dino Fury cast, it seems like they might be coming back. That's a speculation. Again, this is not news. We're not breaking anything. It's a rumor that we've been hearing about the Dino Fury cast. These kind of things happen all the time. Chris and I can tell you that We hear about these type of things all the time. We did get another super chat from the Blur as well. He says, I think whatever happens with ASJ will not erase the character and can focus on the character just like and still rewatch Smallville with Allison Mack. So what he's saying essentially...
But they're not...
Go ahead, Chris.
They're not making new episodes of Smallville with Allison Mack. That's the problem.
Fact.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
They're trying to make a comic, like an animated comic or something. But I think they should just cast the dude that they had fill in for him, like in between ASJ and Rocky. That one guy where it's just the back of his head. Or...
There's been some interesting casting suggestions, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, right. So some of the...
Why doesn't Jason like looking at the camera? We don't know. It's a spell. He's put under a spell.
Let's talk about some of these story elements for the 30th anniversary. Liz, I have a question for you. So Simon Bennett, it seems like he's doing a fantastic job right now with Dino Fury, and it really seems like Hasbro really likes the work that he's doing. Do you think Simon Bennett can lead the Power Ranger franchise in the future instead of Jonathan Entwistle? And if that's the case, do you still go back on the last 30 years of Power Ranger lore to continue on?
Wow, that's a big question. Without Jonathan Entwistle, if he is the one that they say, look, Entwistle's out, Simon Bennett, you're doing a great job, you're going to keep going with it. I think he really has fallen in love with the franchise and with the amount of work he's done to go back and, I don't know, just kind of bring in, I feel like, more elements of everything. I know it sounds weird. Like, Neo Saban was very disconnected. This is, like, in the whole universe. And I feel like he's embracing more of the universe and the older themes. So I think going forward after 30... yeah, they probably would still pull from it, even if it's a brand new show. Even if they didn't use source footage, I think he'd still find ways to bring in older elements. And I'd be willing to watch. I like what he's done. He went from not really even knowing what Power Rangers was, 4 years ago, to being in charge of everything now, and we're seeing how well things are going. So at this rate, I'm like, you know what? Give him a few more years, and I'd be happy to see what he does.
Yeah, and this is he has a pedigree in telling dramatic storytelling with his soap operas in New Zealand.
Exactly.
So he can handle that. I'm curious to see how he embraced the campiness of Power Rangers, though, because it seemed outside of his wheelhouse prior to getting the job. But I think he's done a really good job at merging it in with the current season. Also, I feel that Dino Fury is less of that slapstick comedic element to it. We do have another super chat. This one's from Frankie. He says, for the 30th anniversary, I would like for someone to a Power Ranger version of Hero Getter Super Sentai song. That would be fun to listen to. I don't know what Hero Getter is.
Airlim?
Airlim.
That's the Gokaiger song they play in the credits, where they name every single Super Sentai team in the theme song.
Of the current cast, who do you think would do it?
Exactly.
Do what?
That. Who would do like a dance or like a song?
The current cast that's on right now?
Yeah.
I almost want to say all of them would.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen over in Pasadena, Hunter and them always doing like TikTok dances and stuff. So, I mean...
That's what Power Rangers has been missing. That's
that
the missing key right there. They're not
what,
doing dance numbers at the end of each episode. We need an ending dance.
Yep.
Because you can
look
get
how well that went.
J-Board.
Look how well that went with Beast Morphers with
Oh yeah,
the humans.
Yeah, the music episode that was great.
I like that episode.
I love
that.
That was a great one.
Out there, Olivia Tennant directed that episode.
That's crazy.
Bring it back.
30th anniversary, Airlim, question for you now. Out of what's expected from the 30th anniversary and what you actually think we're going to get, look, Hasbro or Power Rangers in general sometimes has let us down with these big anniversary type of things. But it does seem like a little bit more might be in the work with this. Are you expecting more this time around?
I'm going to keep my expectations low, because if I go in and go, oh my God, this is going to be the best thing, and it kind of disappoints me, I think the rest of the season might be spoiled a little bit. But if I go in low and be like, all right, can you do it? Like the whole Evox thing they did in Beast Morphers, it was like, and then it blew me away. So I'm hoping if that will happen again with this, with the anniversary. So I'll be like, do you know what? That was actually really well done. So I'm going to go in low. see if I come out on a high. If not, be like, well, they tried at least.
Right. Chris, could the 30th anniversary connect to the finale of Dino Fury? And if it does, do you think that the next season of Power Rangers would tie directly into whatever this 30th anniversary special is?
Well, that's a loaded question because that depends on what the 30th anniversary is. Like if it turns out to be this whole Trini's daughter thing, then yeah, I think you take that and you run with it, right? Especially if it ends up being popular. And they can just ignore everything that came after Mighty Morphin. It's really easy. They do for the most part anyways. So now do I... in my heart of hearts, no. I don't think... I still think they're dedicated to rebooting, restarting, rebranding, because as much fun as Dino Fury is, the toy presence on the shelves is still very minimal. The show is technically off the air for the first time in its history. It's only streaming now. There's still a lot of things we have to look at from a business standpoint versus what we're enjoying on it. And I don't think that they are going to connect the seasons. I think their goal is still I think their goal is it keeps the goalposts keep moving, so to speak. I think this was the plan to happen by the 30th, and now it's okay. We'll do something for the 30th, which is why this is so last minute. Like, hey, you're gonna come hang out for eight weeks, just 8 weeks. So no, I still don't think they're gonna connect. I think the 30th is the swan song, and then reboot or hiatus.
It's a great way that you just put that is moving the goalpost, which actually does feel like a thing in Power Rangers where it seems like we get everything hitting on all cylinders, and then one thing happens, then it all kind of unravels. And I guess this ASJ thing was something that was super unexpected, but it definitely is throwing a wrench into the plan. We do have a couple super chats. The Blur says, do y'all think the next season will be about the Morphin Masters? Liz, do you think next season of Power Rangers is going to be about the Morphin Masters?
I mean, they've introduced them. Like, they're obviously the thing that's fresh in everyone's minds. And if they're going to do something that's trying to celebrate 30 seasons of Power Rangers, the Morphin Masters have a lot of powers, obviously. And that could be a segue to get from one, maybe world to another, or they have to help with something. I would like to see more of them. They might want to make more than one suit for them, but...
I like the capes.
I like to see it. I think it's a fun concept.
The last team we saw with capes was Mystic Force.
I like capes.
Bring them back.
Another super
them
chat
back.
from Only Can Be Me D. I'm super late, LOL, but did you guys already speak on it? JDF would try to lobby for his return to the series for the 30th anniversary series closer. Do you think JDF's going to return, Jezer, for the 30th anniversary at this point now?
Do I think?
Yeah.
I'd want him to, but do I think no?
No, I don't think so either. Chris also thinks it's not happening. Liz, you think JDF's returning?
If they asked him to, I think he'd be on a flight tomorrow, but who knows? Now with the Austin St. John things, maybe they're just going to rewrite the whole dang thing.
Yeah, we got some funds.
And there you go. It's a Tommy tribute again.
It's true. And now that Austin's out, let's be real. There's beef. All right, there's beef, and with him out of the picture and Hasbro kind of favoring ASJ, seemingly, with the Beast Morphers thing and stuff like that. I think if Hasbro came up and they're like, "Hey, buddy, do you want to come back and do this?" And maybe we can do a Green Ranger thing for you.
There has to be a million alpacas.
There's that. JDF has to be made. He's gonna want to be made the star because it's not gonna be just like a hey, sorry, can we be friends again? No, it's gonna be like, hey, you got to make me the Optimus Prime of Power Rangers. Let's go.
Is this essentially them Hasbro sticking their tail between their legs down and asking, essentially a favor?
Well, I would be honest with you. There's a very good chance that Hasbro, someone's going to have to let them know a week from now why ASJ missed the flight.
That's not a lie.
I'm just being real with you.
It's not a lie. Frankie also says Power Rangers Hero Getter English version. Here's the link if you're interested. Just copy and paste it and see what I'm talking about. Thank you so much. Thomas DeCoste says, when you say Dino Fury cast might be returning, do you mean for third season of Dino Fury might be happening?
Wait, did you say that?
No, I said, look, the cast wants a third season of Dino Fury. Of course they do.
Yeah.
I don't see how they wouldn't want a third season of Dino Fury. Truth be told, I'd want a third season of Dino Fury. But I don't know. I'll say this. I'm not going to put anything. I'm not going to say it's not happening, because I feel like at this point now, anything with Power Rangers, especially that team with Dino Fury, it feels like there's more there. It feels like there's more left.
Especially like what? How many episodes left? Like 11 or something?
12. It's 11, I think. Right?
Yeah. So I mean, that's a lot to wrap up in 12 episodes, but that would mean they'd have to come back.
Another super chat says, this is from the Blur. He said, should Hasbro get Steve, Karen, and Johnny for the 30th anniversary? Well, here's another interesting thing, too, that I'm going to reveal a little bit. I know that some of those original Rangers were asked to come back prior to all this news coming out as well. Like, I won't say this is a rumor, I guess. Catherine was asked to come back.
Okay.
You know that. I think Karen was as well.
But if Karen comes back, does that kind of put a little damper on like the whole?
I don't think so.
Training storyline?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, right? Because we haven't seen. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that story is that they're telling. And also, from everything that we understood, what was happening was that the script was in flux, dependent on who was going to come back. So, we'll say if it was written in, who knows?
I have a question real quick, but it's a question for chat, and I'm really curious. So. Let's fast forward ourselves to September of 2023.
Okay.
The 30th anniversary, whatever it is, has done, come and gone. And let's say that all you have are maybe, let's say David's back, let's say they get Walter back, and let's say Johnny Young Bosch comes back, and say nobody else comes back. But we know they were asked. They chose not to come back. Say Amy said no, JDF said no. Is that something for chat, for the fans of the brand? Like, is that, like, how, at what point do you go like, hey, like, come back and celebrate what you are part of? That's kind of like created your convention career, because that's really what's pushing it, versus, oh, well, they didn't offer me enough zeros in the paycheck to come back. Like, how much of it, for fans, like, how much of that are you going to take as, hey, like, why aren't you proud of the fact that you have people that have spent 30 years appreciating everything you've done and wanting to be a part of it, and you don't want to go back to it, but you still want me to pay you $90 for a picture? That's my takeaway. Like, I want to know, like, what is the breaking point for fans? Or, like, you know what, maybe these actors just aren't into being on Power Rangers anymore. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you guys
Yeah. I mean,
I get what you mean.
like, I feel like a lot of the Rangers that don't want to come back, they're kind of like trying to bring back the things that Saban had done to them, but it's a different company. Like, it's like these grudges that, that it's somebody else's grudge. So I feel like the fans, they need to do it for the fans.
Well, let's forget about the show for a second and move in another direction for the 30th anniversary. And Chris, I have a question for you, because one thing that you're really well versed in is the marketing / action figure side of this, which is such a big part of how Power Rangers as a franchise makes money. So let's talk about this, because the 30th anniversary isn't just for the television show. It's a really big opportunity for them to sell more merchandise for consumers. So with everything that we already know about the show, let's table that for a second. Are there products for the 30th anniversary that would blow it out of the water, where fans would be like, yes, they nailed it? And do you think we'll get them?
So it's so hard to tell, right? Because I don't know how versed Hasbro is in the actual, brand that they have. I mean, we've seen the continued quality boo-boos and stuff that keep happening just on the most recent releases. So it makes me really scary then to give them the keys and tell them to give me a 30th anniversary item that blows me away. Could they do it? Of course they could. There's plenty of stuff out there that Bandai didn't give us, that fans clamored for. I mean, stuff just in recent years even. Do I think they have stuff planned? I don't think they have I don't think they have like a 30th anniversary toy line. I don't think they have anything like that coming. Do I think we'll see obviously something for the convention circuit next year? Yes. Do I think we'll see something for fan channels? Yes. Do I think we'll see product packaging that's got like a 30th anniversary logo? Yes. Do I think we're going to get like a whole new, like an anniversary line? No, I don't. I think I don't want to go as far to say temper your expectations to Bandai and Saban's 25 25th anniversary where they just literally took a logo and stamped it on various products and said that's an anniversary product, hooray! um, but I don't think it's gonna be that bad, but I do think you're gonna see the 30th anniversary branding. I mean, it obviously that's marketing. You don't even have to market. You just have to be like, hey, guess what? It's our anniversary, and people go, oh, cool, and you put that logo on something, and someone will buy it.
Absolutely.
So
I think like
we'll see.
One thing I can imagine is that they could do civilian Rangers, because they could just use the Marvel Legends line, just stick it on and be like, oh look, here it is, here the morphing or something like that, to give the experts thing, and then people will want more of it. But I can imagine that being one of the big 30th things.
Get ready for Mighty Morphin. I mean, if you're hoping to get like an anthology line, no, just get ready. It's gonna be Mighty. If whatever comes out will definitely be Mighty Morphin themed, because it's the 30th anniversary of Mighty Morphin, not Power Rangers 30th anniversary. You know what I mean? So it's if you don't like Mighty Morphin, next year's
right. We have another super chat. This one's from Angelo Blancini. Will the 30th anniversary have to be union for certain actors to come back? I mean, for certain actors to come back, I'm sure it would, but not for these actors. So I'm going to say no. Power Rangers is not going to be union, or at least not.
I think the only union was Walter, but I don't even think he's active anymore. So, no, I don't think any of them, of the Mighty Morphin crew, anyways. I don't think any of them are technically union. And David was very vocal last year, saying he would return if it was a good script and a good story, he'd return. He didn't care about the union; he'd leave. So.
And another thing too that I think there's a big misconception about is there are SAG waivers. So if some of these actors did want to come back and they were union, they can go to SAG and get a SAG waiver to work on non-union things. They would just have to have the same kind of conditions as SAG, which it seems like Power Rangers has anyway. So that's one thing that I think people need to wrap their head around. But all right, so let me ask you guys another question. We're gonna start with you, Liz. What do you actually want? Let's not forget about the 30th anniversary reunion special, but as a 30th anniversary season, what do you want to see? Like, do you want to see an adaptation? Do you want to see something completely original? What do you want the motif to be? What would you like to see?
I think it would be amazing. Honestly, I love Hyperforce.
Yeah.
I'd honestly take like that adaptation and almost make it into a show, because it was awesome and it had Time Force elements, it had Mighty Morphin elements, it visited seasons. But I would love some form of way to use the portal and hop dimensions and go into other worlds, and it's like Go Kaiser. Just give me stuff of all of the other seasons. But since Airlim mentioned it, yes, I actually do want Lightning Collection figures now of them unmorphed with the morpher in their hand as an accessory.
That'd be great.
It's gonna be
I didn't know I needed that.
5-pack box
and now
set.
I do.
That would be great.
We have another super chat. This is from the Blur again. He says, "Your thoughts on Samuel Benta returning to Morphicon?" Whoa.
Cool. I think he's going there to kind of like clear his name.
There's gonna be a lot of clearing of names coming up soon with Power Rangers. 30th anniversary Airlim. What are you looking for? What do you want it to be?
I would like it to be all original, because I feel like the show has reached that point where, like, Dino Fury has always been like it's had more elements of itself. So I would love an entire whole like new set of Rangers, something properly, so that Hasbro can turn around and go, do you know what? We've been kind of like using MMPR for such a long time. Let's actually make this our own brand and put in our own original Rangers and do it. Yeah. So like say, as Liz said, like Hyperforce. I've never listened to Hyperforce, but I would like to see something like that, or, you know, something brand new original, rather than, oh, here's Zooja, here's Don Brothers, here's Lupin Ranger versus Pato Ranger. Let's focus on that. And that's what I'd love to see for like an overall 30th. They've paid for a brand. Yeah, it's not gone the way that they want it at times. So make it their own, because they bought Power Rangers, not Super Sentai and Power Rangers. So yeah, original. I want original.
When you say original, though, do you mean like something completely new, or like an original MMPR season?
Original suits that don't kind of like, obviously they look like the Power Ranger stuff, but original suits, original bad guys, even if they don't make Monsters of the Week and they just make, say, oh, here's a human villain. So very similar to what they used to do back in like the old like Sentai days, where it'd be like, oh, there's no monster. So like you could have, say, Scorpina, some of the people back from Master Rider, or even from VR Troopers, take all this. Even Mystic Knights of TNR No. Bet you didn't think you'd hear that. But like, take all these elements and make their own stuff. Because if I was at Hasbro and I didn't know Power Rangers, I didn't know Super Sentai, and I kept getting these things of like, why are we using stuff from Japan? Why are we using past storylines? Why don't we make our own stuff? And I think that's what I would love to kind of see a lot more, because it shows that if they can make storytelling, do it. If they can make this product, make this brand grow, prove it, rather than have everyone go like, oh, you need Super Sentai to keep that money flowing. We'll prove them wrong. Make something amazing and blow out the water with marketing all the way through.
Chris, how about you? What are you looking forward to, or what would you like to see in the 30th anniversary season?
So I'm that person that people like to hate. So I wanna go animated.
Yeah.
And I want to go animated. And I want to do it in the style, not the artistic style, but the revisionist style that you saw with X-Men Evolution.
Yeah.
Where you basically do a complete
that.
retelling. And I've talked about this before, but there's absolutely no reason why you can't have an animated series of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in high school. And oh look, there's a senior named Carter Grayson, and he's going to be a firefighter. And oh look, there's Tyler. He's the exchange student or whatever. His dad, got lost spelunking. Whatever. And as fans, you immediately go, oh.
Yeah.
But for kids or the youngins who are watching, it's whatever. But then you can release your Mighty Morphin Megazord, right? Because it's new, it's just in an animated style now. And if you want to retell something and maybe you have a Green Ranger and a White Ranger at the same time, because maybe one's Tommy from the future, then you do that, and it's not a problem. You can do that. You've seen in the Boom Studios where they've had Matt the Green Ranger with Tommy the White Ranger, and they combine the Dragon Zord and Tiger Zord. Do it in the animated show. Make a toy out of it. You're good to go. And it opens up so many different channels of storytelling that they can use, kind of like, say, like Star Wars uses, right? Like you have Obi-Wan coming out, right? And it's going to touch on stuff. So is Ahsoka, when that comes out, that's going to touch on stuff that came out from the Star Wars cartoons that aren't part of the movies, like Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff like that. So I think there's potential there. I think if you trap yourself into one medium for too long, which I think Power Rangers has done, you find yourself in the situation you're in right now. So for the 30th anniversary, I would like to see, for this universe, right? If you want to keep this universe going, re-envision it, take the whole thing and just take it and be like, okay, I'm going to use the same characters, I'm going to use the same basic storylines, the same Zords, the same suits. I'm just going to tell my version of it, but this time all of it in a collective universe that I can cherry pick different elements that I want of it at any time.
That Jazzer, what are you thinking you want to see from the 30th season?
Kind of piggybacking off Toku Chris's stuff, but with like, how the Justice League animated movies are on HBO Max, that style where it's like a little bit grittier, and we get to explore different Rangers and different storylines where it's kind of like off stories. Like it could be MMPR, like the main storyline, but we get to follow other characters as well, and it's different, kind of like Justice League Unlimited.
Bless you, Chris.
Justice League Unlimited or stuff like that. I would love to see some of the comic stories adapted. I'm a big Ninja Turtle fan, so maybe like the crossover, that'd be great to see. I would love to see all that kind of like in animation form.
The Blur says, Toku Chris, are you going to stream for your marathon? You're going to stream your marathon.
My which marathon?
Yeah.
Great question. Great question.
That's a trick question. Yeah, if you let me know what marathon it is, I'll let you know if I'm going to stream.
So from what I would like to see in the 30th anniversary is more like kind of what Liz wanted, is actually following Mick, because Mick talks about meeting other Rangers from other dimensions or whatever. Following Mick, meeting those Rangers from other dimensions in every episode, so it's like essentially like Gokaiger, but he teams up with whatever those Rangers are, whatever they're doing now, or maybe one or two of those Rangers, and have a giant reunion. Every episode's like a new season type of thing that Mick travels to. It would be a lot of fun, and it would tie in what they were doing in Dino Fury a little bit.
If Mick just, I'd I'd love
It'd be
it.
fun, right?
I'd love it.
Frankie says, I would like to see an animated movie of Shattered Grid. That would be awesome.
Wouldn't they need Kyle Higgins on that?
I think so, right? Actually, no, they wouldn't. Chris would know better than anybody. Would they need Kyle Higgins on an animated Shattered Grid movie?
Would they need him? They should need him, but he does not own that story. That's owned by Boom Studios and Hasbro. So all that stuff is all when you work for a licensed comic book company, you are taking someone else's project and doing stuff with it, but you don't own any of it. So that is the downside to working on a Marvel or a DC. Is any idea you come up with, any new character you come up with, whatever, that's not yours. That's
Which
theirs.
is crazy because Draken has to be probably the most popular character in Power Rangers that was created specifically for like the comics. It's crazy.
Everything Kyle Higgins and Ryan Parrott have touched has been nothing but gold.
Right.
So they are, and Matt Groom now as he starts writing the comics here, I think everyone will see like the comics are actually in really, really, really good hands. And if you're not reading the comics, you're missing out. Like,
do we ever wonder why some of these comics or some of these comic creators aren't helming some of these shows? And here's another thing too, especially that Power Rangers is on Netflix now. I think that we're always caught up into this whole thing of like, well, there only could be one Power Ranger season running right now. Why can't there be more seasons running concurrently? Why can't there be a Dino Fury season 3 along with whatever they're going to do next, along with something else?
Oh.
I mean, it seems like
because that's just not how we do it. Apparently,
not how we do it.
Toku Chris, the Blur says the Super Mega Marathon from Twitter.
Oh, that so. I'm not the only one who runs that account, so that was not that was my partner Mike. You guys know Mike Toast, Mike?
Yes.
So
Toast.
I know Mike.
So he ran that thread and stuff like that. So plus I don't know if I would want to marathon stream that because I don't own that, so I don't know where we could watch it without someone
TikTok
hitting you on the wrist.
A couple more super chats coming in. Matthew Thompson says, I'd like to see something new and animation, but also not for the 30th. Let it be the final of the original series / format. And then the Blur says, do you think something for the 30th will be at Morphicon? That's actually a really good question.
That's so close. Like,
I know Morphicon.
That's so close.
Right?
I don't know. Just from it feels like they're not ready.
I think we'll know by then. I don't necessarily know that it'll be announced then, but I think we'll know, like for sure. Like we'll know. You know what I mean? No.
Like maybe a trailer or something, but like we'll be told beforehand what's going to be
like a little slideshow.
Didn't they?
When do we usually get the announcement for like the next season?
Isn't it like it's past?
About last February.
Yeah, it was like February, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like February, right? So we haven't gotten anything.
They must be.
But before that, it was always August.
They must be really good at keeping these secrets now.
Oh, really? Because it seems like a lot of it leaked.
Never mind, like the toys.
It does seem that they are. Well, it's either one out of two things. They're either really good at keeping secrets, or plans are changing so much that they don't even know exactly what's happening.
I mean, it's not just them too. I mean, look at freaking the Batgirl movie.
Well,
like
everything's changing.
They're pivoting. They're pivoting with like how the movie theaters are going and all that. They're pivoting. So I think it's not something new for a franchise to like try to change it up. But I think that because it's been so quiet, it's a little worrisome.
I'll say this: if Simon Bennett is behind anything having to do with 30th anniversary, I'd be confident enough to say that I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I think that he has a really good grasp on the storytelling of Power Rangers, but he's also able to do this thing that's very interesting that I feel that a lot of other showrunners weren't able to do as well, and that's catering to fans, but also catering to the network or
he was able to produce without the input of Heinz.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So there's
too many hands in the cookie jar for way too many years.
Exactly.
And I think if Dino Fury, you're seeing what it looks like when there's not so many hands in the cookie
exactly. And I did an interview with Simon. By the way, Liz, he loved the question that you had for him about his friend recommending him for a job. That question, but he does mention.
Yes.
He did kind of mention or talked about a little bit like what season he would redo.
What do you say?
You'll see the interview and find out.
You son of a-
But he talks about that a little bit, and he talks about why he would redo it, which is a pretty cool reason. But and it's one that I actually wouldn't have expected, to be honest with you. But I think the dude has such a great grasp on long form storytelling. Obviously, from his soap opera days in the dramatic atmosphere, but it feels like he's taken such a serious interest in Power. Or, I mean, it's his job, but he's taken such a control over Power Rangers where he's diving in deep, and I think he's pulling out little nuggets specifically for fans like us.
I did like the little Beast Morphers ending with the whole like Easter eggs with the vault and stuff.
So I have a question for you guys, and Joe and Jezzer, you guys might know better because you're a little bit more familiar with the TV side of things, right? So a lot of the interviews that we've seen regarding why certain things were the way they were on the show, right, were due to broadcast standards with Nickelodeon. You can only do XYZ because the broadcast rules state that you can only do XYZ. You can only show so much of morphless fighting because of XYZ. And if they're fighting, they can't be fighting a person because of broadcast standards. Now that it's not being broadcast on TV, it's going to be on Netflix for streaming. Does that change what they're allowed to, are they now allowed to have an unmorph fight that lasts longer than 45 seconds because there's not that standard because it's on kids' TV?
Yeah, I don't know. There's these mandates that I feel that Power Rangers used to have. I'm not saying that they're all fully have gone away, but I think you've seen a big progression from Beast Morphers to Dino Fury Season 1, and then from Dino Fury Season 1 to Dino Fury Season 2. And I think that, hopefully, with time, that just gets better and better and better because I'm hoping the storytelling... The thing is, you can make a kid's show, but you can also make it digestible for adults as well. And I'm hoping that Simon Bennett is finding like this happy medium of getting us there. Because I will say this about Dino Fury. For it being a kid's show, it's a decent story that's told very well. And it has complex characters that go further beyond the surface. And even with the lessons of the week or lessons of the day or whatever they are, they're not as on the nose as they were in previous seasons. They really, as an audience member, especially a kid that's watching this, they kind of make you come to your own conclusions, I like.
I've changed my mind. I changed what I want for the 30th anniversary.
Well, what is it?
I want sparks back when they hit each other.
I wanted to get that question in.
I love seeing the little tubes in their shirt, like right after it happens. Like, what's that?
I just want the little I want those back. I don't want them digital anymore. I want actual pirates.
I want more explosions behind them, the colorful explosions.
There is another super chat from RJ Scott. He says he wants to see SPD animated show since 2025, just 3 years away.
Wow.
2025 is 3 years away and no flying cars yet. I can't believe it.
Where are my robot dogs?
Right?
I need a Rick.
It's when Grid Battle Force turns around and goes, we've just literally made so much technology because the morphing grid again, and that's how they accelerate it a lot further.
It would be funny if 2025 they just rerun SPD and that's the
that would be
I love it.
Great.
They just make new toys of everything. Like, here you go.
That would be
HD
fantastic.
it, Blu-ray that.
You know what? Wait, did we finish the SPD line for toys? Is it done?
No, we don't have Z. Right? There's no Z yet.
There's no Z. There's no Nova Ranger. There's no Cat Ranger.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time.
All right, let's put a bow on this 30th anniversary discussion. Is there any final thoughts that you guys have on this 30th anniversary? And in the chat, are there any final questions you have about the 30th anniversary? Airlim, we'll start with you. What excites you? What makes you frightened as a fan? And what are you most looking forward to? Perfect world.
I'm excited for the fact that they thought outside the box with Trini, like her daughter. I'd love it if it was Firm. Firm was a daughter. I think what scares me the most is the lack of information from Hasbro Direct, or even if you say Toyline, or it sticks with just one particular thing. And I can't remember what the last part you said, so I'm going to go with I just want them to do better. And I want them to I want them to redo Super Mega Force.
Yeah, you and Liz love Super Mega Force.
Because it's the best season ever. Liz agrees with me. Best season ever.
It's something.
It's a season. It's a Power Ranger season.
It's a show.
It's a season with really cool suits.
Yeah. Yes.
And Zords.
Liz, speaking of cool suits and Zords for the 30th anniversary, what excites you? What frightens you? What are you nervous about?
Okay, I am excited for the fact that it seems they are thinking outside the box a bit for a reunion. They're trying to actually do a different thing and not just the same old. I mean, maybe who knows what it'll end up being, you know, oh, big monster, let's bring some past Rangers in. Like, it seems like it could be cool to just have it be the older Rangers. I am frightened of just how little and how, I guess, fluid, and maybe they're doing a really good job keeping everything tucked up, but I'm right now going with everything is might be a little bit of a cluster, and that scares the crap out of me. I was say nervous for, but if this is gonna be, you know, 30 seasons how it end, I'm just like, just don't suck. Just please don't suck. It's all I at the end of the day, just
Putting
don't
the bar
suck.
real high there, Liz.
Chris, what are you looking forward to? What frightens you? What makes you nervous?
Frightens me is that the 30th anniversary is technically only 14 months away, maybe 15 months away, and they haven't filmed a single thing that we're aware
Not a
of.
single frame.
That frightens me just a little bit. It frightens me that we're not seeing a lot of hype and build up for it. Like, you don't see anyone at Hasbro go, and you know what next year is, right? Like, you don't see anyone talking about that in anything that they do. That worries me and frightens me. What I'm excited about, because it feels like, and Joe, I think you're right there with me. It feels like every week there's something new that gets whispered, that gets shared out, you know, in certain circles, that changes a little bit. I mean, I would say it was only 2.5 months ago when we thought the whole anything reunion, any past actors coming back was scrapped. Because it was like, oh, nope, it couldn't get done. You know, so and so doesn't want to come back. So and so only wants to do this. But yet now here we are talking about stuff. And Joe, you made a good comment to me the other day that I think people should be aware of too. It's like, because you forget, right? If you're not in the entertainment business, you don't know how these things work. So if you have a big project you're trying to do, right, and you go to pitch somebody to be like, hey, you should come back. You usually make them sign an NDA when you pitch them. Like, hey, you can't talk about the fact that I asked you to come back. So we won't know. So when people take these actors' word for gospel, we're in the era of actors lying a lot.
I'm definitely not in No Way Home.
Spider-Man, anyone familiar with that movie? So I'm not saying that means anything. I don't believe some of those actors are coming back, but I don't know, be wary. And then I would say, like, just let's temper our expectations, kind of like Liz. Like, I'm hoping something doesn't suck. I hope they don't overproduce the hell out of this thing like they do sometimes. I don't want generic, stupid music. Let's get, you know, let's make it real good. Let's get Ron Wasserman back to do a track or the theme song or something. Let's get let's go over the top on our production. Let's spend a little bit of money. Let's make this something that we're proud of, not just something that we had to do. Because I kind of feel like the last few anniversaries, we had to do it. Let's make this one, I want to do it. But yes, I'm wary of the fact that yet here we are, yet again. There's a big anniversary coming up, and it's last minute that we're like, hey, guys, you want to come back?
They made small steps.
In my perfect world, this was nailed down and ready to go 6 months ago. And they're just waiting for all the travel restrictions to be lifted enough to fly these people out. So
6 months ago would have done them some good, because right now trying to get that cast back is going to be a doozy.
The longer they wait, the more the price tag goes up.
Especially now.
If I'm trying to bank money on this, if I'm trying to make money, and because that's what I want, I'm holding out. And every week I hold out, I ask for more, because now that ASJ is gone, now you really need me to come back. So,
yeah. Do you know one thing I would love to see, and I think it would be a nice, perfect circle to it if they're doing the Mighty Morphing thing. I would love it if Bulk and Skull came back and actually saw the Rangers morph and go, "It was you." Oh my God. But through the entire episode, maybe they turn around and talk about it, be like, well, I remember the Space Rangers was these guys. Oh, it wouldn't be these guys. It wouldn't be the people we grew up with. And then suddenly they see it and they go like, and then it just cuts to black.
I really would love if they could have a cameo, at least from Bulk and Skull. They were such...
Why can't they be doing a high school reunion as the actual reunion?
Oh,
that's
so
easy.
Good.
That's nice.
But I think because they graduated, it wouldn't match up in terms of years. But yes, that works.
Like 25-year.
Then you bring everyone back. Then Steve can come back, and Johnny and Karen and Catherine. You can even bring back, if you really wanted to, you could bring back TJ and part of that cast, because they were in high school at the same time.
Carlos, Cassie.
Yeah.
So
I would love
Blake.
at least 2 minutes of them going to Walter. So what was the peace conference like? And be like, it was long, very long. That's it.
he
It
just
was
flew
out
back
of this
in.
world.
Yeah, I've just come back. We've done world peace. It's all done, boys.
Well,
And it's like, thanks, Will.
another quick question. I know that we can all expect at some point to see some type of the Mighty Morphin suits. Any chance you guys think we'll see the Omega suits?
No.
Live action?
No.
No.
No?
No.
All right, well, fair enough, fair enough.
Because
But
ever anybody who only watches the show, they'd show up and they'd be
Who are
like,
those guys?
"Who the is
What's
that?"
it-
I censored
There's a
myself.
cat?
This
The
is-
most popular comic creation thus far has been Lord Draken, and we only saw that in a JDF / Kyle Higgins paid for and produced trailer.
That thing was awesome, though. You remember that little trailer?
That was, but I mean, we still don't even have, they never even bother. The 25th was totally set up for a Draken thing, totally set up. Even had JDF come back, and they didn't do it. So that's where it's like you get frustrated, and so I think if they're gonna do anything, they would actually do Draken, because he's kind of the most popular villain in the brand right now. They want it to be Lord Zed, but it's still Draken.
Well, look, I think this is a good place to end the Ranger wrap up, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this Ranger Nation discussion. Airlim, where can everybody find you on social media?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook as Airlim, but on Twitter at Mainstream Live.
Chris, how about you?
You can find my personal Twitter at Toku Chris, but you can find me at Toku Nation, at Power Ranger, at FN Cool, all the usual spots.
Liz.
I'm Ranger Liz, and that's where I am
You're gonna find me.
everywhere. You can find me on YouTube, and I'm mostly on Twitter, but I, in theory, have an Instagram and a Facebook as well.
Jezer,
Everywhere, like Liz, everything is Jezzer Zeus.
and you can find me here at the Illuminerdi. I want to thank my fellow collaborators on the Ranger wrap up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Deoxy, Fan Club, Airlim, Liz, Chris,
Josh Perry, Lightning Storm, Ranger Key. It gets confusing sometimes.
Lightning Fig PR.
Lightning Fig PR. So thank you guys so much for joining us. That's going to do it for this week's Ranger wrap-up. We will be back next week talking about more Power Rangers. Kai Moya is going to be on the show talking about Dino Fury. Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button to stay up to date with everything trending in geek pop culture. Thanks, guys.